Well, good evening. I'm up and I'm live. Welcome, welcome, welcome once again to another edition of Swerve with me. This is a show where we have adult conversations for mature audiences only. So I'm looking forward as you come in now. Make sure you tag somebody and let them know that we are live on the air. I'm going to share this broadcast with a couple of people right now. But tonight, happy Independence, Bahamas. Happy Independence. Happy 49th Independence to be precise. I am so very proud to be a Bahamian, to be alive, to be well in this particular season, and my, how far we have come.
Come.
I'm old enough to remember the actual, well, not
Oh
remember,
wow.
but kind of sort of, I knew it happened. you know I can't remember all the details, but I'm old enough to know I was here in
Ah,
1973. I definitely was around in 1973, and we have seen so many strides that Bahamians have made along the way. I mean, we've produced Olympic athletes, we've produced NBA athletes, we've produced major league athletes, we've produced professionals in every strata across the world. So, whether you're in North America, South America, whether you're in Asia, Africa, Australia, whether you're in India, happy independence, Bahamians, because our footprints are global. We're all around the world doing major things for people that are less than half a million in the world.
mm.
Get that? Less than half a million people get to call themselves Bahamian, and I am blessed to be one of them. And so, as you come in tonight, go ahead, tag somebody, let them know that we're back live. I'm still trying to figure out how to share this thing, and I'm privileged tonight to be talking to my friend, my brother. Some call him pastor, some call him doctor, some call him Pharaoh, some call him Chiefy, some call him Scoop. I mean,
Ah.
whatever. Some call him brother. Some might even call him bishop. I mean, but whatever. Somebody is calling him. That's the point. Someone is calling him. And I'm so delighted that on this his 55th birthday, he's
Yeah.
decided to swerve with me. So help me welcome to the platform Pastor Delton Ellis, my brother, my friend. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much, for Randy. It's a pleasure, man.
It's
Somebody
good.
asked me to go if I'm going on tonight on your birthday. I said, yeah, this part of the celebration. I tell them I'm doing 4 days of celebration.
Hey, listen there. If not, why not?
That's
Hey,
what
good
I'm
night,
saying.
Nancy. Go ahead and tag somebody, man. Y'all tag somebody. Let them know Pastor Ellis is on tonight, swerving with me. And what a privilege it's been. What a journey it's been. And I
Yep.
want to start. Go ahead, Michael, or tag somebody. Let them know Pastor Ellis is on. Listen, how old were you when you recognized that independence was on your birthday?
Oh my. Oh, you asking me now? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. How old?
Boy. Well, I'll put it to you like this. I was 6 when the country turned independence. I think I didn't have a clue what in the world was going on. And I may have been 10 when I finally realized, okay, the country birthday and my birthday is on the same day. All
Okay,
right.
so
Now, so people used to always say, I mean, now as I got older, people used to always say, boy, you born on Independence Day. I said, no, don't get confused. I gave Independence its day. They came on my birthday.
yes, yes, I agree
This
with you
the
one
country
hundred
is
percent.
celebrating 49. I'm 55. Right?
Right. So independence came on your birthday. That's how it
Exactly.
works.
Exactly.
Listen, I was doing
Exactly.
a little research and I recognized that there are over 20 countries that actually celebrate independence during the month of July. June,
Okay.
just July alone. And I don't, there's just something about the month of July. So you
July.
haters just keep that to yourself. But there's
That's
just
all.
something special that
Yep.
countries decided we want to be independent in the
Or
month
in
of
July.
Yes, man. Yes,
You
yes.
got
And
it.
so, of course, I share that proudly with you the
You
month
better
of
believe
July.
it. Yep,
So, listen,
yep.
man, being independent, and we just talking tonight, y'all, because, like
Hmm.
I tell you, we friends, so we just talking but stuff. So, tag somebody, get them. Bimini, y'all need to show up. Come on, Bimini. So, listen, we, when you think about independence, not just from a national perspective, but from your perspective as Delton
Hmm.
Dale Ellis. When
Right.
you think about independence, what does that mean to you?
I can take care of myself. I can take care of myself. I don't mind others helping me, but I don't need them to survive. I'm independent enough, first of all, to make decisions. I'm independent enough to go ahead and do what I need to do to get a job done. Now, being independent, you could always depend on people to help you in whatever area they can. But when you say I'm independent, you could be an independent thinker, you could be an independent worker, you could be a person who really just take care of yourself. And that's what I really believe that we are able to do when we say we're independent.
Mhm. So, as a country, when we look at ourselves, in your opinion, how independent are we?
I think we are still interdependent. I'm not quite sure we gained our independence from Britain and we became a country, but we are not self-sustainable at this point. So even though we are independent from colonialism, we are still dependent on one or two other countries really for survival because
Yeah.
we are not able at this point to produce everything that we need to fully take care of ourselves.
And I think the question stands then, is any country truly independent? Because I do believe that all of us are interdependent. We
Dependent
need something from someplace else. So
from someplace else.
can
Well,
we
you
really truly be independent?
I think some can, even though they are slight. See, I would base it, Miranda, on whether or not I'm 5% dependent on them or 55% dependent on them. See, the challenge with us now, with the war going on, this thing happening, the next thing happening. Now we can't control some stuff because we don't have control of the stuff. All right.
Mhm.
So now the country is going through where it needs this, it needs the next thing. I mean, in gas in Nassau is close to $7 a gallon. In some of the family islands, it's probably $8 a gallon. Now,
Mhm.
even though the U.S. stuff went up, the U.S. still had a reserve of oil that they could still pull out. So even though they're dependent on the Middle East, interdependent on the Middle East, technically they have some that's in reserve that they could pull out. The challenge, I guess, for them now is the restocking. But there's so much thing for us. Our number one industry is still tourism. So technically, we are very dependent on other countries to come here for our survival.
As you have grown into adulthood and really began to appreciate what it is, first of all, what is being Bahamian to you? Let me start there because for different people it means different
It's
things. So
different
for
things.
you, when you say I am Bahamian, I what they say I can born
Born,
there and
bred, and die.
born bred and dead, right? When you say something like that,
Ah,
what does that mean for you?
I really believe comfortability, Miranda, because I mean, those who know me know I love to travel. I'll be on a flight in a flash. I'll go to another country in a flash, and don't have a problem. But boy, I look forward to coming home. I look forward to coming home because I believe God placed us. Watch this now. And even though we may be dependent on some stuff, we are still really in a position where, they say we third world country. But I believe God positioned us where we may depend on a first world country, but we still helping third and fourth world countries out there. So I think the Bahamas for me is almost a middle ground where if I don't have to run from the Bahamas to another country for safety. I could live in the Bahamas even though I live to travel. So for me being a Bahamian, I believe we have just been placed in the right spot where God has taken care of us. And I just love our people. I love our home. I love the way, I know this could sound strange to some people. I just still love the way we operate. We could always do better, but I think people always say, "Oh, the Bahamas ain't no country. Travel someplace else, then." You see,
The Bahamas
travels.
ain't a real place. Listen, guys,
Yeah, the
I'm
Bahamas
talking
ain't a real
to
place.
I'm talking to my friend and brother, Pastor Delton Ellis. Go ahead and tag someone and let them get in on this conversation. Good night, Apostle Nathan Rhodes, Stephanie Darton, Jennifer. Thanks
Hey,
for always swerving with me. Good night, Michael. And come on, tag some other people. Let them get in on this conversation. So being Bahamian to you is being free, having that ability to. We have an awesome proximity. God just hooked us
sure,
up. Basically,
sure,
he hooked us up, but it's also an anomaly because while we don't get the kind of assistance that we need internationally because of our
right,
GDP,
right,
uh,
right.
so it's
They
like
see us where we still could take care of ourselves, and
ourselves,
that's the
right?
point. You need help, but we want help. But according to the IDB, oh no, no, you good. You could take care of yourself.
You good, you got this, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so we're in this emerging country. That's what I like to call us, an
yes.
emerging
That's
country,
good.
because we're not
That's
where
good.
is we're not where we want to be.
Right.
Perhaps we're not even where we ought to be, but we are emerging. And so at 49 as a nation,
Yes.
we still have some cobwebs in the closet that we got to clean out. And you know
Sure.
how before somebody comes over, you might have to straighten something up and
Right.
dust. I reflect now as I'm saying that on the recent visit to Nassau of was it the Prince and the Duchess
Yes.
of Cambridge,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I
Yeah. You
understand
had
like
to touch up a couple
potholes
of
in the
places.
street. Yeah, right. We had to patch up some things to get it ready for this
$660 plus $1,000 worth of patching up to get it ready.
to get it ready for this royal visit. So as we
Yes.
patch the streets and patch up things, what are some of the things when you think about the Bahamas as a nation that we need to do to patch up ourselves, to get ourselves better positioned globally?
I still believe, Miranda. Let me piggyback of the statement. The Bahamas is not a real place. Um, I'm not one that made that statement because I still believe. See, people will say the church this, and they look at the church building, but it's the people. See, the Bahamian people have to want better. You have to want to do better. You have to want to be in a better position. You have to want to be in a better place. And this year the theme is proud to be Bahamian, and I just believe more people need to take pride in our country. And I think if they do that individually, one at a time, and we could begin to change some things in the Bahamas. One of the major things I believe we can do, even though again we may be better than some places, I just got this thing about the cleanliness of the Bahamas. I believe we could do a much better job than what we're doing now, but that takes all of us. See, most Bahamians just want the government and the sanitation workers to take care of that. But no, we have to take care of that individually. And I believe if we begin to see that, I think things could happen better. One of the other things I'd love to see in the Bahamas to make things better, Miranda, is more millionaires being made. Not necessarily for self fulfillment, but again, statistics have shown the countries that help create more millionaires, things begin to trickle down a little bit further. For years, they've just been staying in that one circle. And I believe if we could get some of that out and make things a little bit better for all of us in the Bahamas, then I think we are well on our way to becoming an even better country than what it is right now.
Mhm. If the money could get out beyond the 2% that actually control everything in the
Yes,
country. So Marissa
yes,
says our country is the envy of many. Our
it
people
is.
need to see the blessings within our country.
Yes,
As we always often say, we are our worst enemies. And I do
yes.
believe I
Hey,
was having a
Marissa.
conversation earlier today with someone saying that I do believe that it is the attitude of many Bahamians
Yes.
that are oppressive and suppressive to
Mm-mm.
ourselves. It's
Yes,
our attitudes. And so
yes.
even with the creation of millionaires or billionaires and the developing further development of the economies, we
Mm-hmm.
know if we don't have the right attitude,
True. Right.
that money will come trickling right out of our hands just as fast as it came into.
Mm-hmm.
Let's reflect on as what do you think happened to begin when we began to see this change of attitude in or lack of pride in some instance. And I'm sure everybody in this country, in the Bahamas that is,
Mm-hmm.
has a horror story about customer service somewhere.
Right, right. Moran, I think as we went down in the generations, right now we borderline 5 generations in our churches, 4 generations, different generation in the workplace. And I think as we went down the generational line, we start to lose principles and we start to lose standards. Because now everybody, I'm not mad with the 2% who have it because they've been waiting for it. The challenges as we go down each generation, they believe that they are entitled to it. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? The
yeah,
Bible says God gives us the power to get the wealth. So he doesn't just give you the wealth, he gives you the power to get the wealth. The challenge is we don't want to wait for the wealth. And everybody just want to sit back and somebody give them something. No, I believe opportunities are available, and some of us have to just get up now and do a little bit more to make some things happen. And I think that's where part of where your attitude is when you talk about customer service. Somebody and I was talking about it today, and they asked me the question, and they said, "Man, Pastor Ellis, why you think the taxi drivers' attitude is carrying on so bad?" Well, I said to them, I didn't go into the full explanation, but I said to them, maybe now that a lot of the taxi drivers, and credit to the Minister of Transport, Jobed Colby Davis, more than 300 plus taxi drivers and livery drivers are now business owners. So prior to that, Miranda, you talking about a taxi driver who after the first $400 he make each week goes to the person he was renting the plate or the car from. So that was a hustle and bustle attitude. You run in here, you shorten a customer to get to the next customer so you could get some more money, not realizing you ain't gonna get a recommendation from the last one. So I'm hoping now that with some new things coming out, and it goes back to what you said with the attitude, that now that attitude of customer service, the younger people, everybody want to let go the seniors, and they want to hire all young people who only waiting for the couple of hours to get that couple of dollars, and they don't really care. They don't really care. Look here, they come in, they want to throw things at you, do things at you as far as they concerned. Friday come in, they get their money and they going home. And if you don't handle them right, you ain't gonna see them Monday because they done quit you and go on to another job.
yeah. We are. I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about what happened recently with the cab drivers, and really the word is it narrows down to what my dear friend Debbie Bartlett always talked about:
Mm-hmm.
ownership.
Yes,
When
ownership.
people feel they own something,
Yep,
when they have a stake in it,
in it.
then they take more pride and they treat
Yes,
it so.
because this
We
is
need
mine.
to, yeah, so we need to encourage more ownership in the
Ship.
country.
Yes.
and to begin to develop mindsets. And people try to say it, well, you're a part of this company, you have a stake in it, you might even have shares in it. But the
Yeah.
average person still says, that's not mine.
Yeah, that
That's
ain't
that's
mine.
not mine.
That
That's
ain't mine.
yours.
I,
So
I
go
may
ahead.
have common shares, not
Right,
preferential shares. You
right,
see?
right.
And
And so
so
being
this ain't
able to
really
be a
mine.
decision maker.
Exactly. Exactly. You see? And that's what now the good thing about a lot of the millennials now and Gen Z is they are entrepreneurial minded. And so if they do a lot of that and begin to take pride in owning their own business and giving good quality customer service, taking responsibility for it. See, when I go out now, Miranda, and I do a service for a church or for a company, man, I'm speaking and I'm handling that like I want them to bring me back next week. You see what I'm saying? So the kind of service you do, the way you handle your customers, the way you handle the client, that's what people look for. I said to people like this, the 15%, I know some people could get on me now, the unions could kill me. The 15%, Miranda, I think automatic has also hurt us because
You're
I'm
referring to
getting,
that gratuity on
yes,
the checks. Okay.
yes. So I'm getting 15% whether I serve you good or not.
Hmm.
You see? Now, you serve me better, you could get more than the 15%. But some of them didn't realize I could get 15% of this no matter what. And I said to somebody, I said, if you go to a restaurant and the food wasn't all of that, but you got killed with service, then you
Yeah.
go to the same restaurant again, the food was good, but the service was horrible. Even though the food was good, you ain't coming back because you're not going to pay for somebody that treats you like that and then you give in the
Right.
money. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? So I think it boils down to, man, that good service. And if you could treat people with good service, man, people will pay for that. And I'm telling you, they will.
Mhm. So, in that regard, as we talk more about this whole attitude, us being our worst enemies, and us stepping up, developing a positive attitude, and just owning, becoming owners and stakes in it, because what people don't understand, and the Bible speaks clearly to if you faithful, I'll make you a rule over many things.
Sure, sure.
So people don't understand that you shouldn't despise small beginnings. And so
Right,
while you may be employed by
right.
someone else, you ought to treat it as if it were yours,
Yes.
particularly if you aspire to be
A
an
business
owner
owner.
someday and have employees yourself.
Yes,
You
yes.
want them to take that same attitude towards you. So as you look around in the country, let's put it like this. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Get ready for this one. This popped in my head. If you had the office to sit in the chair of the prime minister, I'm not going to say just, yeah, I'm going to just give you a day. I'm going to only give
Right.
you a day because I don't know what you can do in a week. But, but if you had
Ah,
the opportunity to sit in the chair as prime minister, I mean, the chief decision maker in the country, in collaboration or consultation with cabinet, what would be, let me ask you, what would be the priority item for you?
I would see to it that every Bahamian get at least, if not one, a half a acre property. We have enough property in the Bahamas. May not be all in Nassau, but let's go back to the pride and the ownership. See, if I own the piece of property, then I could begin doing something on it. And I believe if we take that approach to give the one thing, there are many things I would really want to do. But if we go back where somebody owns, see, Miranda, if you get a piece of property now, you could start building something on that. You get
Oh yeah, for
$500.
sure.
You see what I'm saying? So the challenge with a lot of people is, again, let's go back to the statistics with housing. They also show that people who own their own home live better lives because
Yes.
this is mine. This is my own. And so if I had that opportunity I would go in, and now one day, my one day, I could spend in land and survey.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
either
Somebody type in hashtag Delton for PM. Hashtag Delton for PM. I like this prime minister.
right?
I like him sitting in the chair. I think that is
Ah,
an awesome idea to give people a piece of the
yes.
rock ownership, as we
Yep.
alluded to
Yep.
earlier, to have a sense of pride, because at the end of the day, that's all people want, to own
That's all
something.
they want, man. They want to own something. You want to be able to say, this is mine. And that's why I say, even if it's a half an acre, because there's still so much based on the level you are, whether it's a home, whether it's an apartment complex, whether it's whatever, a business, little something, mini something. At the end of the day, it belongs to you. So you could go in and say, I have a piece of paper. Now, watch this, Miranda. If you outright own that property, even if you don't have the money, the bank see you as a property owner. So
Yeah.
even if you get that piece of property and that piece of paper in your hand to say you are business, you are a property owner, and your property is value such and such. Now I could go to the bank. The bank will listen to me because I have some collateral.
Now I can be seen, because
Yes.
and that's at the end of the day, people want to be seen and heard,
Yes.
and
Yes.
valued, and these are all the things that help to change the mindset
Set of
of
people.
people,
You better
right? That
believe
we
it.
can get good customer service and stuff. When people's
Sure.
mindset changes, that's important. How people
Yes.
view themselves and how
Yes.
others view them as well. And I don't
Yes.
think we spend enough time thinking about
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yes.
Even as employers, with people
Right.
work, I don't
Right.
think we spend enough time thinking about valuing the people that we employ,
Mm-hmm.
listening to what they have to say, and
Mm-hmm.
responding in kind to the service that they are providing, patting them on the back when they are doing a good
Right.
job.
Right.
We don't do
Which
a lot
part?
of that. We don't do a lot of complimenting in
Right.
this country. Mhm.
And they tell you that encouragement is the cheapest thing you could do with the most value because it ain't gonna cost you nothing to say good job. I love what you're doing, blah blah blah. Keep up the good work. But when I had a negative thing every day, and
Yeah.
no positive or positive once every 3 weeks, then again it goes back to beating down on the spirit, beating down on the attitude of a person.
Mhm. Okay. Good night if you're just joining me. I'm talking to my friend, my brother, the venerable Reverend Dr. Delton Ellis. And we're talking about all things national, independent. Today he's celebrating his birthday, and it's just a pleasure to be hanging out with him. So
Yes,
let's
ma'am.
shift gears, because I can't have you here without talking about church. We gotta talk church a little bit.
No problem.
So we're talking. Let's talk about um in light of this whole thing about being independent, and COVID, and understanding the dynamics of the pandemic, and coming out of the pandemic, and still navigating your way through as the body of Christ. What should the church be doing differently? What should the church be doing?
Church. Hey, Miranda, I am. Let me take you a step back and then bring it into that. Because one of the things the church is missing is before COVID, the church as a whole was already on a decline. They had already told us that the attendance, particularly in the evangelical, the Pentecostals, the charismatics, they were already on a decline. And then the COVID exacerbated the case now where everybody was pretty much shut down. What I believe is, and I've made this statement, I hope this don't come across too bad to your audience, but I've said while I was out training during COVID that I wasn't sorry for any church who were not able to stream because they didn't have it, or they couldn't accept offerings because they didn't have anything electronically, because I'd been preaching it for more than 15 years. But the church has always seen television and this kind of thing as the one-eyed demon. And I'm saying you got media. If see the media, Miranda, you've been in this for years. The media really helps to control the culture. So if there is no kingdom work in the media, then we don't handle the culture. And so I believe the church has to become a little bit more proactive. We've been talking about vision. When God gives the vision, He gives provision. He provides for the vision. So I believe the church has been too much in a reactive state as opposed to
Mm-mm.
being prepared for what's coming. I mean, I've been talking about it. I've been talking about streaming. I've been talking about doing it for your children. In Pinewood, where we are, well, most people had an issue with Mount Tabor because we were all set. We had been streaming and doing stuff for almost 21 years. For 21 years, you see? So we were set. Electronically, we were set. We added some things, but we didn't have a major issue. And I believe the church has to prepare itself for now the next stage. Now, what I think Miranda the Lord did was all of these banks now, a lot of other places are going cashless.
Yes.
I wonder now how long it's going to take the church to realize that eventually, if every place else out there is cashless, then if you don't have credit card machines, if it's not easy for you to receive money, then you could be in problems. Somebody asked me one time, they said, Pastor Ellis, I want to send you a few dollars. How can I do it? I say, you want Cash App, PayPal, Zelle,
Well, Zell.
Commonwealth Bank, Keepers, you want PayPal, you want Royal, you want Scotia or CIBC. I got Cash and Go. I got whatever the next one was. I can't remember. There's one more out there. Sun thing I'm been out for a while.
Sun Cash.
Yes, Sun Cash. I said I'm not gonna make it difficult for you to get money to me. And the
Yes.
places that makes it difficult to give you is going to suffer in the next move. And so if the church don't realize that we had a wake up call in COVID and prepare now for the next season of change, because we can see it coming. Banks in the Bahamas now, there are 3 or 4 banks, they don't deal with cash. So we got to look at that from a different angle. So Miranda, I think we got to pay for the next season. One of the things I'll give you as well, I didn't know it was coming, but now I read something in the post-COVID church now. And what I did when my brother Dave died in Florida, I went over to kind of reset that church, restart that church. I'm sorry, to restart that church. While I was doing it, there was another church that did not necessarily have a church home. So I spoke to the members. I said, "Why don't you let's rent the church to them for Sunday services?" They said, "What you mean, Pastor? Let's rent." I said, "Listen, we using this building Sunday morning, full stop. Nobody else in this till Sunday coming. So if we move up our service for an hour, we could rent the building out to a next church." And that's what I did. I rented out to them. There are 2 entrances and 2 different parking lot. I said to the church, our sign for the church will be on this side. Your sign for the church will be on the next side. Let our people come through this gate. Your people come through that gate. So now there are 2 churches in one location. And
Literally.
literally 2 churches in one location. They are paying rent. And I said to them, listen, man, you don't have to buy no pew. You ain't got to buy no air condition. You don't have to pay no light. You ain't got to pay no cable. You ain't got to pay no internet. The cameras are there. The sound system are there. Let's just you this is you paying your rent and you got a turnkey situation. And now I see where in the post-COVID, the Banner Group is saying we gonna have to maximize campus or church space. People
Listen.
now,
Yeah. I'm happy you said that because for years I have always been wondering why more churches didn't collaborate.
yep,
Why didn't they do things? Because I don't, it doesn't matter the size of your ministry, there's
right,
always something that somebody does better than you.
sure,
You understand what I mean? They have a
sure,
strength in a particular area, and I've always wondered why there was not more collaboration going on between various ministry, because if it's all for the upkeep of winning souls
Right.
and building the kingdom of God on earth, then why
We
not lay aside egos
we could
and collaborate?
we couldn't collaborate because we was competing.
Yeah,
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 churches were competing. See, and again, it's interesting that you use that because again, in some of my teachings, I tell them the new word for a lot of people is collaboration. The former Prime Minister Perry Christie tried to bring about that culture. The Bahamas wasn't ready. Oh, he's setting up group and want to talk this stuff. Collaboration. The
yes,
new
indeed.
generation, the millennials, they want to be a part of what you want to do for them. So you got to collaborate with
Yes,
them. And if we don't collaborate, we're going to miss the next move because some churches, for survival, if they don't collaborate and merge, they're going to close
yes.
because the numbers are dwindling, the salaries are not going anywhere, and people are still in catch up mode, particularly not working for almost 2 years.
And many churches have closed
Yes,
since the pandemic has started
many.
because someone didn't see the wisdom in
Right. In the
collaborating,
collaborating.
in
That's the problem.
uniting, in
Yes.
going to the brother down the street and say, hey, how about us
How we could fix
sharing
this.
this
Yes.
overhead? How about
Yes.
us? No, they didn't think
Everybody
about
want to
that.
stay to themselves, you see? And my
Yeah,
thing is, why not let's fix this and make ministry easier from that perspective? And so what I found out now, Miranda, they've been together now this month made a year. And for a year, I was still able to also, even though I'm not there, pull the two churches together. So in their outreach, as opposed to one church doing it now, both churches are coming together.
listen, that's kingdom.
That's
That's
it.
kingdom.
Mother's Day and Father's Day, the two churches each had their service. And after the second service, they all came together. All the women of the both churches serve all the fathers of the two churches. Collaboration, less
Yes.
expense on each one.
That's kingdom work in action
Yes.
right there.
Yes.
That's a level of maturity.
It
That's
is.
what that is. It's a
It
level of
is.
maturity that few rise to. That
Yeah.
few, and I'm
Yeah.
talking about in leadership,
Yeah.
because that takes you laying aside your ego,
Yes. Yes.
um,
Yes.
and being able to receive this idea
Mm-hmm.
from this other person again
Doing
and
it.
collaborate, share ideas, share thoughts
Yes.
for the
Yes.
growth of the kingdom.
And,
I am
and that's what
hoping
it
that
is,
we see
man.
more of that. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that we begin to see more of that, and we don't have to see churches closing down
Right.
or hear
Right.
stories of pastors who felt that they were so alone and they didn't have the
They have
support.
to shut down.
And the reality is, you didn't have to be alone.
No.
There was
No.
support
You
right
could.
down the street, because more than likely 10 other churches on the same street where you are.
Right.
So you
And
didn't
see,
have to do it alone.
exactly. And see, I'm hoping that people saw where things could change in a flash. I mean, we were all doing everything and the whole world came to a standstill, which means things could change overnight. And so I'm hoping, as you say, that we begin to see the light for the future. Does it still make sense for me to have 15 people I trying to raise $3,000 every month to pay this and I struggling and going through, whereas I could be in this building with somebody and I'm paying $1,000 a month and having access to everything that's there.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, that takes maturity, that takes vision,
Yes.
just a release of ego, and just so
Yes.
many different dynamics in order to make that work. And it
Right.
can work.
It can.
That's the thing about it.
It
It
can.
can work.
Mm-hmm.
If they can see the wisdom in that. And
In
so
doing it.
in this, well, we're still in the pandemic, even though people
Right.
saying post. People still getting hospitalized.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, they are. So
It's still going on. It's
yeah,
still
people
going
saying
on.
post, but we still in. So in the changing dynamics of the way
Yes.
that people are doing church, and we've seen, of course, this proliferation Facebook and live stream has become a wonderful thing for many people who had once demonized it. Of
Yes.
course, me with my media background was always a champion. Hey,
For it.
let's get this done. As a matter of fact, I often use when I would go out and speak in churches and different groupings about media, I would always use Psalm 66, I think it's verse 11, which says
Mm-hmm.
to publish the good news. You got to get the
Mm.
news out there. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
that was my staple. Listen,
Yes.
you ain't saying nothing if you ain't publishing, if you ain't getting the news out there. If it's only confined to that building
Yes.
that you're in, then you're missing great opportunities to reach the masses.
I
Now, with
use
that, go ahead.
I think it's Second Kings chapter 9 with the Queen of Sheba. See, the
Hmm.
Bible says the Queen of Sheba heard of the wisdom of Solomon. All right.
Hmm.
So that's your public relations getting out there. Now, Miranda, when she heard, she came
Yes,
and she
yes,
brought people
absolutely.
on a gift. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if you stay right in your little four walls, then you can miss out all the major stuff that God has in store for us.
And it's a lack of understanding the tools and how do you utilize the tools that are right in front of you. For
Yes.
many people, it's become abusive to the extent that just every second, I mean 24 hours a day, let's put it like this.
Mm-hmm.
If even if somebody decided, even for the group of people who have been done with church and
Right.
decided that they're not going to be a part of organized church anymore,
Mm-hmm.
there was somebody out there live somewhere that
Right.
would be able to speak to their situation, or to
Sure.
speak to where they are. Talk about the responsibility, though.
Mm-hmm.
See, because with media comes responsibility.
Yes.
With
Yes.
public relations and all that stuff comes responsibility. If it's a corporation, we call it corporate social responsibility. If you it's
Right.
your church, we call it the responsibility that you have, your communal responsibility to make sure that you are, in fact, preaching, teaching sound doctrine
Mm-hmm.
to
What?
people and not confusing them.
Mm. One of the things you have to realize that you have not been called to everybody. And when you realize you're not been called to everybody, then if Miranda's numbers are 6,000 and my own is only 2,000, then I don't need to say stuff off the cuff, out of the way to try to garner more attendance. What I need to
Or
do,
you don't have to try to duplicate
yes, or
what
duplicate,
Miranda is
is
doing.
do it. Absolutely. Absolutely. All I have to do is develop what the Lord has placed in front of me. I said to somebody, would a preacher want a big audience? Yes, every preacher wants a big audience. But you have not been anointed for a big audience, so to speak. And so or at that time. So my thing is maximize and develop the group who you have and be responsible as you indicated that you're doing now. I don't want to get into any name callings because I ain't ready for all of that yet. But I'll say it like this. One or two things are being said now from a prominent person. Then a couple of years ago, another prominent, and then back then another prominent. See, some things are seasons. And I believe what they did then was they had an opportunity. They still got a crowd, but they were trying to get more, and we have passed that season. So people begin to say things that are way out there to attract the attention. Consequently, it comes now to what you were saying now that we are confused. We're
Mhm.
confused with certain things, and I believe you don't have to you don't have to become a renegade to go there to do all kind of stuff just to get people. Be who you are. I mean, at Miranda 5 o'clock in the morning, I was trying to figure out who could be up 5 o'clock in the morning praying online. I remember
Right.
the first time when I heard it, the Lord told me to do it, and I gone on. Wasn't no major advertising the first time I did it, and 50 people joined me. But I was in dog heaven. I couldn't believe, Miranda, that 50 people came online with me to pray. The next time I went on, the second time I went on, it was 99. I was like, wow, people are really up and praying. And then there are some other groups who, I'm hitting around 200. There are some other groups hitting 5,000, 10,000. Ain't no problem. I see Streams of Joy, one that I follow every now and again. He was up to 84,000 people live one time at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was watching it. Hey, that's what he's been anointed for. God give
Right.
him the word for that. So I'm maximizing what I have. And so I believe, as you indicated, people be responsible, and it takes time to develop certain things. The challenge is I want what Miranda have, and I know
Now,
how long
now,
Miranda, yes, I want it now. And I know how long Miranda been in the trenches trying to develop what she got now. I want that overnight. And that ain't gonna
yeah.
happen. That ain't gonna happen.
And see, when you focus on, as you were talking about, and we talk in church, and we know numbers are important in some regards,
Right.
and particularly when it comes to it's really the aesthetics, because
True.
just because you have large numbers doesn't mean you make a large money. That's another thing
Right.
that people are
Right.
misled by. Okay,
Exactly.
because you could have
Exactly.
like 10 people carrying
The Lord.
200, right? Or, or,
Yes.
or whatever that is. So when the focus is wrong, when I'm focusing
Mm-hmm.
on the fact that every time at 5, when Pastor Delton comes on, hundreds of people are on, and I want to do that now. We've
Mm-hmm.
all witnessed, like I said, the proliferation of all of a sudden everybody was praying in the mornings, and everybody was
Everybody.
live, and maybe that was great for that season, and maybe that was their assignment.
Right. Right.
Perhaps, who am I? But we've always also seen this,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It's going down. COVID
And
fatigue.
we've seen
Online
the
fatigue.
you see, and then we've seen but what it's about, what people don't understand, they hear it a lot, but it's
Mm-hmm.
the consistency. That when
Yes.
you come on at 5, whether 5 are there with you or 500 are there with you,
Yep.
one thing we know is that whenever we come on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday,
Yep.
for as long as the Lord says, Delton, get up and do this, we
Mm-hmm.
know you there.
Yes, ma'am.
But somebody is there representing you, because it is the consistency that
Density.
matters. But when
Yes.
people just
Yes.
saw numbers and they said, "Oh, he doing it,
Yeah.
so I could go
So
do
let's
this
try
too.
this. Yeah.
Let's try this too," and it wasn't really their assignment.
Yep.
We've seen what has happened as a result of that.
Salt. You got
So
it.
as you're moving around
Mm-hmm.
in this church that has been, and when I say church, I mean Universal, that's
Church.
been
Yes.
coping with COVID and making adjustments to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen? What have you recognized that has changed and is a good thing, and you hoping that more are doing something that's actually working, not just because it's Delton doing it per se, but
Mm-hmm.
because it's just a good thing for Kingdom. What have you been seeing?
Marana, I thought over the COVID period, in my estimation, the church up its game in prayer, and the church up its game in worship. And I believe if they don't drop it when COVID is over, then I believe if they maintain that level, I think they'll be setting up themselves for what is the next level to come. Because to me, that's been working. I've seen something in Mount Tabor. We don't even make an offering appeal, Miranda, in Mount Tabor, other than the video comes on that says, give when you enter, when you exit, or whatever the case may be. The finances in Mount Tabor have not dropped. As a matter of fact, it went up. So I don't see the need of going back to, I'm hoping we don't, that you have to get people to take up the offering, that you have to get these long drawn out offerings. And so some of that we have moved away from. Now, what I think was waking to, and I'm slowly seeing this go back. When COVID was on, we was having an impactful service in 1 hour and 1 hour and 15 minutes. The church was in, got to it, announced. Now everybody going back Miranda. Oh God, to these 2 hours, 2.5 hours, back to 3 hour service. When we did it in an hour and we didn't miss certain things.
Yeah.
Now we going back. That's why, again, I don't want to get in no trouble with pastors. That's
Right.
why I don't like using the word reset. I prefer restart. You
Yeah.
see?
Okay.
Because reset might mean I going back to the original settings. Now, I won't go back there. I don't think we need to go back to what we have, because if God allow us to go through almost 2.5 years of this, then he was trying for us to make some adjustment for certain things. So I believe structure of services would change. When I had free will, I became a little bit more creative. So I didn't look only at the spiritual element of the people. I also look at their development, personal development. So I had a chef I brought into the church in the middle of the service. I had a certified exercise coach I brought in. I brought in investors and bankers. And after we were done with service, we gave 30 children $40 each to go open up a bank account. Let's just stop saying black children don't have this and they don't have that. So when you
Right.
start to develop, I think now we have to not only look out for the spiritual element, but if we're talking about church in the marketplace, then we have to begin to prepare our people for the
Yeah.
marketplace. We
Yeah.
have to prepare them
Holistically.
for the market. Yes. Yes. So when they go around the table and sit around, they ain't just ready to fall out in the spirit or speak in tongues. You could speak properly to a subject matter, and you could advise on certain things, and then you
Yes.
could make sure the church is at a better place. And I believe
Speak
that's
in
what we
tongues
have
in
to
the
begin.
hallway or the way to the boardroom.
Yes, yes. Cover you
Speak in
before you
tongues.
get there.
Build up
Then
your
speak
most
English.
holy faith on the way in.
Yes, yes. Develop
Yeah.
that boldness, develop that spirit. But when you get in there, speak in a language that everybody could understand, and let people know that you know what you're doing and you're supposed to be around here. You see,
Mhm. Yeah.
I had the ability to sit on two boards in the Bahamas before. Now, of course, because I was Pastor Delton Ellis, they made me, I guess, the unofficial, recognized chaplain of the board, so to speak. But when I got in there, I was in NIB. I was one of the members of the investment committee. What's this now? With the governor of the central, well, she was the deputy governor of the central bank. I was on the investment committee with her. And then the now prime minister was the chairman of NIB. And I was his executive secretary for what is known as Clotton House. That's a building owned by National Insurance that rents to the government. All right. Then I was on another board, the Bridge Authority Board. And out of the 10 members on the board, the general manager made me, as the board representative, the person who signs on checks.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, he got sick while they was there, and there was nobody else to sign a check other than myself. But he recognized something in me. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? So we have to be in a position where we could speak to certain things and don't get closed out. I tell church people, stop talking foolishness, but you don't read the newspaper or you don't watch the TV because bad news. How you going to know what's going on out there that may be affecting the church on the inside?
So that the church will be able to address those issues of the things that are
Certainly.
going on up there.
Certainly.
Generally, I think that's what we don't do well enough.
Yes.
We're not responsive
Yes.
to our surroundings, to the things that are happening in
Right.
our communities in a tangible way. That's
Right.
not just a band-aid. And not knocking anybody. We give the food and all that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
that's good. And we give the hot meals.
Right.
But if we were able to get people trained and employed,
Yeah.
you see how that changes
Yes, that changes the whole game
the
altogether.
dynamics of what they need. And I think that's what needs to happen more
Mm-hmm.
generally as churches, as
Yes.
leaderships sit down, as teams sit down and talk about what is the ministry going to do? What are we going to do in
Mm-hmm.
2023? What are we going to do differently? Or
Right.
what are we going to add? And I don't know if enough of that is happening because I'm not
Yeah.
on anybody's executive team, but I don't know if enough is happening where it's actually beginning to reach out and really touch people. Because I
Mm-hmm.
said to a friend who was a theologian that that theology is for you and your peers.
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody walks into that ministry hurting,
They ain't
you
all of that,
understand?
boy.
Then they trying to figure out how, if they can eat today, how they can feed their kids, how they're going to pay the bills, whatever
Yeah.
those bills may be.
Yeah.
That theology may sound good and it may be sound doctrine, but that's not what I'm interested in hearing.
Right.
I
Right.
need to hear how I'm going to get out of what I'm in to
What you're
be able
in.
to take care of
Mm-hmm.
myself and my family.
But you know why that's hard for a lot of churches? Because a lot of churches stay in warfare mode too long. Yeah, we always think it's a fight. And the reason we think it's a fight, it goes back to because we are not developing people. We're developing a spiritual element, and that's good. I mean, and the church is spiritual. You have to do that. But then again, you got to live in the marketplace. And if you are developing people to rule and handle and control the marketplace, then things will become that much better. So I think you could do warfare, you could do spiritual warfare, you could do the praying. I'm all down for that. But at some point in time, we have to sit down, develop strategies for the next move, and how we are going to develop people for the next level and the next phase in their life. Because Miranda, one of the other things that's going on out there now is in the church arena, they tell us now, and we are recognizing it, it's no more general, it's no more specialist. You got to be a generalist now.
Hmm.
Because, see, if you just focusing in on one thing, we didn't realize when you had that one thing got shut down and we couldn't move. You couldn't do anything. But now, because you were a specialist, I mean, because you were a generalist, you were still able to do a little here, a little there, take care of that. But when you only focusing on one dimensional, then a lot of people were in trouble. They couldn't do anything because, okay, this area got shut down, but now you could take care of this particular area. So I believe they have to begin to see that and begin training the members in different areas. And I think that's what we have to look at.
I often say there's a reason that we are spirit, soul, and body. We're
Yes.
tripartite, being
Yes.
tripartite, and all three, all of us
Absolutely.
are equally as
Have to be
important.
developed. Absolutely.
Equally as
Absolutely.
important, we
Very
have to
good point.
maintain healthy bodies, healthy minds. Our spirits have to
Yes.
be fed with the word,
Yes.
and the church, as you have said, has been focusing on the spiritual. And
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, what good is a fat spirit and a lean soul? When I say
Yeah.
lean, I'm talking about your intellect, your
Yes.
will, your
Yes.
emotions are
Yes.
underfed and
You can't
undernourished.
carry a conversation anywhere.
Listen,
You
how
can't.
many
Yeah.
times, right? I was watching a video of a pastor today
Mm-hmm.
that says, "I have been struggling. I'm not okay."
Mm.
And even though I do well what I do, and he has a mega church,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "I'm struggling.
Mm.
I am not well. I've been telling the people around me I am not well. There's something going on inside of me emotionally
Mm-hmm.
that I
Mm-hmm.
have had suicidal thoughts." I mean, this man
Wow.
was so
Wow.
transparent. And one of the things
Wow.
that he said that hit me, he said,
Mm-hmm.
"My calling didn't erase the trauma that I experienced."
Mm.
It didn't erase the trauma. He said, because while my calling was a spiritual call, I didn't take care of the emotional,
Single
the
part.
trauma that listen,
Yeah.
when he said that, I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
so
We're not
many people
balanced.
are dysfunctional. There's the balance. And
Mm-hmm.
he said he recognized he recognizes imbalance. That's why he's come to admit it. And so he's stepping down for a while. He said,
Mm.
because I got to work on this trauma as
Yeah.
hard as I've been working on the spirit of feeding everybody and everybody
That's it.
having these great expectations of me. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why the balance that we're talking about is so important. That's
Yes.
why you
See.
have to be, because again, people come to church, shout, roll
Mm-hmm.
on the carpets, do all of that kind of stuff, and still walk out not knowing how, if they're going to
How they
have
can
a
make things
meal,
happen. Yeah.
pay a bill, or even have a job. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not what we're supposed to be living like.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
Nobody can convince me that's
Mm-hmm.
God's
That's
design.
that's what you're supposed to be doing.
No, that nobody can convince me. I'm
Ah.
supposed to be balanced. I'm supposed to be
Yes.
able to
Yes.
celebrate in every
Yes.
area of my
Area of
life
your
as
life.
God's
Yeah.
intent. Beloved,
Yeah.
above all, I wish that you prosper
And be in
and be
health.
in health as your
Even as.
soul,
Yes, ma'am. Even as your
all of you,
soul does it.
doesn't, right? So we're talking about. I'm hanging out with my bro, Pastor Ellis now, and we're talking about the church now, and what it means, what's happening with the church, where the church is now, the direction that it's heading in, what it
Mm-hmm.
seems to be lacking, how it needs to grow people more, not just
Yes.
spiritually, but as well-rounded place, grow people in the marketplace. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
ownership and
Yes.
encouraging people to become owners. I talked about him sitting in the seat of the prime minister for
Yes,
one
sir.
day, and I told you all the time, hashtag Delton for PM. I'm telling you, listen here, let's get that going
Ah,
because he would
yes.
give every Bahamian at least an acre or half an acre of land so that they can feel valued and feel like an owner, and to be free in some aspect of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's shift a little bit and talk about you as father and now grandfather, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing in terms of the desires that you have for your children first to grow in their lives, and then we're going to shift to now that you become a grandfather. What is it that you
Mm-hmm.
desire most to happen? So let's start with the girls. What is your desire for your girls? Yeah.
Ah, boy, Miranda, I'll tell you this. All of them, I wanted them to think entrepreneurial. I didn't even know when I had all of this. I wasn't even thinking about them as millennials and that being the kind of spirit. But Deandra, who is my youngest daughter, at age 7, she's 25 now. At age 7, her Christmas gift for her when she turned 7 was placed on a debit card. And I said to her, "This is your Christmas money. Go shop and buy what you want." I said, "There's $100 on it." I said, "So how much money do you have?" She said, "I have 100." So I said, "If you come to the cashier and it's 105, what are you going to do?" She says, and I see her looking at me. I said, "No." She says, "Put something back." I said, "Yes, because all you have is $100." All
That's right.
right. If it's 105, I'm not going to give you anything extra. And then all of them, Miranda, had a business when they were small. Every one of them was selling something. So the entrepreneurial mindset for them was there. I really wanted all of them to go to school, get educated. As a matter of fact, most of my real formal education didn't come till most of them were almost there. Because every time I started to do one or two other things to go to take myself a little bit higher, I had to deal with them. Now all of them are business owners. All of them have their own business. What I realize that you have to be flexible with is this generation now. Not what you paid for them to go to school for, mean that's what they can end up being.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
that's not my generation. Our
yeah,
generation,
but it's more
a
prolific
lot of
with
people
them
like
right
that.
now. I'm coming to grips with that a little bit better. I had some major issue when DeAndre started to tell. I said, "What, you crazy? All that money I didn't spend." Then it hit me that in school, Miranda, when you go to university, there are a lot of general subjects that you have to do no matter what course of action you are taking.
Yes.
That foundation has to be there. And I said, you know what? Once they get the foundation, you could springboard into different things. And so, as a millennial parent, I've learned the art of flexibility, adaptability, and here go that word we started with earlier, collaboration. Because now when you see this generation, I always say I have three millennial girls that are three different kind of millennials. So I think God placed me there because of what I try to teach people. I love all of my daughters. I think they're all doing well. Every now and again, I think they kind of slip off track. But for the most part, you could only teach them so much and then they got to take it from there. So I want all of them to become independent girls. That's what I try to teach them. To be independent. And yes, I would want you to have a husband, but when you go to get a husband, be there to offer something. You're not going to what's this now? Would we start a little way? To depend on your husband for survival. Be there to help your husband take him to the next level. And I believe I did well with that. I'm watching them work, and watching them how they're dealing with stuff. And so I think they're on the right track of becoming good, strong millennials. And I have mellowed out a little bit, Miranda. I have mellowed out a little bit, as opposed now, and I said this to the group yesterday, as opposed to telling them everything what to do, I ask them, what are we doing? And then
Yeah,
see
that
how,
sounds like a collaborative dad.
yes, and now see how I can help guide the process as to
Yeah.
what they want to do, as opposed to say, no, this is what you're going to do. Well, again, different generation. So adaptability comes into play. Um, I have the grand, and he is with me now. I told my daughter I don't want to be too long though, cause see, I'm a different grand Miranda because I kept my first 16 nieces and nephew, so I'm
Oh,
almost grand out right now. I almost grand out, so I told them I'm good for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, come for your child.
I thought
Eh?
you would have been enjoying this Papa role so much, man. Listen.
When he get a little bigger, I can tell you, like
Okay.
Joel, my brother-in-law Joel Rowley told his daughter, he said, listen, when you have your children, don't send me none until they're old enough to go to the food store and come back with the right change. All right. Once you could come back with the right change, then you could come to me. I believe I can enjoy a little more once he's a little older.
Yeah.
I'm not sure at all. See, I'm actually even scared, Miranda, because with babies, you don't know if they're choking, you don't know if this thing, you don't know if the next thing. That kind of stuff is frightening me. So I'm there helping, but anytime it looks like he's crying too long or something, right, I'm ready to give him to Anna because I can't handle that part. So I think my full duty is to come in when he's able to walk. I could change him.
Talk.
Yeah, man, and talk and say what is what. And then I think I'll do what I need to do to make him go from there. So in these early stages, I could keep him, but I've not been lasting for more than 10 minutes.
He's a male. He's a male. That's your
Yes,
male seed now. That's your
yes,
male seed.
yes, yes, yes.
What is it for your male seed that you want to see?
Again, I want to see a young man who is well in control of his life. Again, who is a developer, and a developer meaning a person who can develop stuff, a thing who could take care of things. I came from a family where our father had 9 boys and 1 girl, and all of us were leaders. All of us were leaders. So I'm expecting my grandson to be a leader. I'm expecting him to be a strong leader. And I'm looking for him actually to be a community leader. I think he is going to do well in the community. That's what I'm looking for, in helping to build the country, as opposed to be one of those who is coming to try to tear down the country. So I'm looking to see him as a builder.
As you as you become aged, I can
Yes,
say that
ma'am.
to my friend, y'all. But
Yes,
as you
ma'am.
begin to age and
Yes.
really see, I for me, let me put it like this: for me, when I hit 50, I started
Right.
thinking about legacy. For others, it might have been
Yes.
earlier, but 50 was that defining moment for me. It's like, oh, Miranda, it's
Yeah,
you're
this is
behind you
it.
that probably was ahead. So
Yep.
hey,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
gone, it's popping. What you
Yeah.
gonna do? How you gonna leave your mark? This kind of stuff. That's when my mindset shifted.
Yes.
Um, you've been a trailblazer in so many areas. I mean, in the church, you've always had this mindset that I think you used to say you wanted to be
The best
somebody.
voice assistant ever anybody ever had.
No. You used to say when it came to like a mafia or something, a
Oh yeah, the
Christian
Christian
mafia,
Mafia. The Christian
right?
Mafia.
Being able to disperse and invest and get
Yes.
things going.
Yes.
As
Yes.
you age more and more, let me ask you this: at 55.
Mm-hmm.
How different are you at 55? What's I going back far now?
Mm-hmm.
How different are you at 55 than you were at 45?
A little bit more strategic. As much as I've been a event and conference planner, I think I'm becoming even a more strategic planner now for the rest of my life. I have done some things since COVID that if COVID did not happen, I'm not sure if I would have gotten switched into that area. So my
Mm,
planning for after is a little bit better now than it was before. Then back then, when I used to see the Christian Mafia, I realized the real scope is an angel investor. All right,
right.
that's the it, yeah, it's an angel investor. That is still foremost in my mind, and actually, that's what I'm saving towards Miranda. I'm doing it now in a small manner, but I'm doing it now with other investors' money. So
Mm,
there's been two or three groups where I am actually the middleman. Somebody is looking for an investment. Then I go out and I find the investment.
mhm.
And I don't necessarily bring the two together because the one that I'm pulling the investment from only knows the kind of investment, but not the
Right.
person. I'm trying to keep them separate. You see,
Mhm.
so I'm doing that on a smaller scale now. That is something I'm looking to develop at a bigger scale from then. So I'm thinking different. I'm a little bit more strategic. I am not as, I guess, concerned about my future much now as I was then because you want to do this, you want to do the next thing. I think I've narrowed it down a little bit more. I have a better idea as to where I'm going, what I want to do, and what I want to accomplish, and I've started to see things falling in that manner. So I'm becoming a better planner. That's what I'm looking at, and then too, I just realized now that you got to do some things that you just want to do and just do it. Just do
Yeah.
it because when Dave died, Miranda, when Dave died, Dave and I were very close. Most people think we were the closest out of all the brothers. And Dave died, Miranda, and Dave left 156 suits. 156 suits.
Wow.
Myra died shortly thereafter. She had 130 plus. Then I realized Dave dead. I'm living in his house. I'm preaching in his church. And I'm giving away all of his clothes and driving his car.
Mm,
Right? So
wow.
my thing is you got to live while you're alive and
Yes.
while it's there. Because at one point in time, this got all be gone. And when you trying to at one point now say, let me enjoy it, it's gonna be time for you to clock out. So my
Hmm.
thing is I'm enjoying life more than you think I really did like to travel. Man, for next year, Miranda, I almost got a trip out of the 12 months next year. I've already allocated 9 of them for group travel. And the
Okay.
only reason I doing January because that's the beginning, and I
Hmm.
doing December because I ain't sure how much people won't be away from home in December. All right, but even
I
some.
wanted to ask you, speaking of trips, I wanted to ask you because you travel so much. Is there one place that you really want to go that you've never been to yet?
Um, I'm headed to Dubai. I've not gone there yet. I'm getting ready to go to Singapore. They are two places that have, I guess, emerged almost, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but over the last years emerged into being major cities and countries. And I want to be able to experience it to see what changed, what happened, how did it go down, where they came from, what they did to have this all of a sudden now you in the middle of the desert and everybody wants to come to you. You see,
Right,
so there are
right.
two that I'm working on now. I've done quite a bit. I don't have any major that I must go to see. It's just I want to see, but not necessarily. I never knew about Israel. Israel for me, when the people used to talk about Israel and the gate, I didn't know it was a place. I thought it was in heaven. All right.
Mhm.
So I done been to Israel. I've covered Greece, almost from north to south of Greece, of Italy, Belgium, Belgium, Spain, the Netherlands, more of Europe, London, and all of them. I've been to Africa, Malta. So I've been quite a number of places. I just like traveling because I love history. I love going on tours to understand the culture and all that kind of stuff. So there's not a place that I have a desire. I can tell you there are two places I don't desire to go to. I don't
Right.
have to go to China. I don't have to go to Japan. I mean, everybody, I won't go to China. I don't have to. I don't have any major thing that I have to get to China or I have to get to Japan. But anywhere else, I've been to Turkey, I've been to Istanbul, so I've seen some of those. Next year, I'm getting ready to do Dubai, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. All
Mhm.
right, that's where I'm headed next year. So I just love it, man. Anywhere you just get me on a flight and I happy because I know I can land someplace else.
What's next on your bucket list? Like other than
uh,
travel, what's left on your bucket list?
I think right now one of these what I'd really love to do is I love cruising, but I want to do a river cruise. I want to do a river cruise, and that river cruise begins in Amsterdam. I think it's called the
Mm,
Rhine. It begins in Amsterdam and it travels straight down to Basel in Switzerland. So
mm.
you're taking care of all of those countries. I think you hit 7 different countries. You're on a cruise and you never lose sight of land. You never lose. You can still hear me?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can.
You lose sight of land. I lose a little power, so just give me 1 second. You never lose sight of land, and so that's what I am.
That
Uh,
sounds
I want
really
to do.
interesting.
Yeah, I want to do that. Just give me 1 minute there, Miranda. I just needed to take care of something. I lost a little bit of power here. But let me see if I can capture this back. But give me a second.
Okay. That's what happens at 55, y'all.
I know. They
So
say
that
you
happens at
reach
55.
a tipping point and you just keep going.
You just keep going.
You
That's
just
that's
going.
what
All right,
happens.
I'm back a
It
little
is what
bit
it
better
is.
now.
So that
Yeah, so
sounds like a really interesting cruise.
it is, and it's also those type of crews are not like the big 3,000 and 5,000 on the carnivals and all of them. Those pretty
Mm-hmm.
much only carry a maximum of 400 people.
Mm,
Yeah,
interesting.
so
Okay.
that's a little smaller. You're right on the water. You're right next to the river itself, and all that kind of stuff. Of course, it's a little bit more expensive than the regular ocean cruise. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but but I want to do that, and they do 3 different times. One is done during the horticulture season, so you get to see all of the different roses and tulips and all of those bloom as you go
Mm-hmm.
through. One of them, I'm not a wine drinker, but one of them also is called during the wine season. So you get to see all of the grapes and the different things, all that kind of stuff. So that's one I really wouldn't mind going on. And I don't
Hmm.
even necessarily have to do that one with a group. I can
Right.
do that with Anna. Yeah, and
Hmm.
I'll be
And you'll
fine.
be good.
Yeah, yeah. If
Okay,
that's a
fun
one trip,
facts.
yes.
Fun facts. We getting ready. We wrapping up soon. So fun facts. Tell us. I can hear an echo now. I don't know what's going on, but tell us a fun fact about you that mm, few people know.
When I travel, I'm a comedian and I don't carry the title pastor.
Okay. Okay.
I don't carry the title pastor. People may call me pastor, but again, let's go to that balance. So I go on vacation so I can let my hair down. So
Hmm.
if you got an issue with me telling jokes and that kind of stuff, or dancing with the waitress on the cruise ship, then you gonna have an issue.
I think I slipped a couple of times tonight calling you Delton. So for those of you who might have been
No.
offended, please forgive me.
And
Um,
see stuff like that, Miranda, ain't no issue for me. You
right.
see, I
Right.
always tell people my mama named me Delton. So you ain't never wrong when you call me Delton. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
That's
stuff
right.
like that, yeah, I don't have that kind of issue, man. So people in the church, one lady said to me one time that she didn't know I could have smiled. And the reason she didn't know I could have smiled because every time she saw me in Mount Tabor at a weak moment.
Working.
Yes, she saw me. I said, no, baby, on Sunday I come to get the job done. I said, and it isn't that I'm not smiling on the inside, but what I'm doing is I'm busy trying to get things and move things here and there. But then if you sit with me later, I'm a different
Right.
kind of person altogether. And that's what a lot of people don't see sometimes because they see you in action and your execution mode all the time as opposed to your downtime. All
Right.
right. I walk right. I was by the church the other day at the office, and I had on my boot shoes, a shirt, and short pants. This is Pastor Ellis shoes wear shorts. Yes, I'm human.
They used to see you suited and booted.
Yes, and three-piece suit.
All right, let's go. Favorite food.
I love crabs. Oh my God, I'm a crab eater.
Yes,
I love
I know that.
Dungeness crab, Bahamian crab. Today my wife surprised me because I was right there. I was right at crying for the last 5 days. I said, Jesus, all this rain, and I had no crabs in the last 3 weeks. And lo and behold, today, oh my God, I had my garlic crab going to bed. So I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Crabs is my own. You got that. That's it. Ah, go
Oh, so
ahead.
Cortina says I can deal with Delton, but that next guy, I
Hey,
don't know
that
what
ministry
I don't
crowd.
know about him either, Cortina.
When it's ministry, oh yes, let's get this done, baby. Let's do
Yeah,
this.
that I don't, you talking about when Pharaoh comes out,
Yes,
when
ma'am.
he
Yes, ma'am.
emerges, the
Yes, ma'am.
taskmaster. We
Yes,
all have
ma'am.
met him. We all have met him. So favorite food, crabs. Favorite drink,
Daiquiri, man. Daiquiri. Yeah, I
strawberry,
love,
pina colada, Miami
I, I,
Vice. What?
I like the Miami Vice, but I'm coming better now to like the mango daiquiri a little bit better.
Mango. Okay.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
I set this up, y'all, so when y'all run into him somewhere, y'all know how to handle him. So we got favorite food, crabs. We got favorite drink, mango daiquiri. Favorite dessert.
Favorite, red velvet cake and guava duck.
All
Always
right, y'all
works.
got that down. Back. Hope y'all
Always
taking notes.
works. Always works.
Always works all the time. Okay. So we got 6 minutes left.
Okay.
Let's see how we can wrap this up. What do you how do you want to end this year? Because we got 5 more months left now.
I am waking on. I want to make some moves in January, Miranda, and I really want to go out this year debt free. That's really what I'm waking towards right now. And I've been confessing this, that I'm not broke. Now I'm not paid up yet with everything, but I
Mm-hmm.
ain't broke. All
Right.
right. I don't plan to see. I know this has been cliche, but I've been setting myself up that I don't never want to see a broke day for the rest of my life for real. All right.
Amen,
Now,
brother.
it may not mean I got plenty, but and I may still owe something here and there, but I got something. I got something. And so really for real, I am working towards turning some stuff around to become debt free, and it's reachable for the end of the year. That's how I want to end.
Oh, that's I'm coming in agreement with you, bro. I'm in
Thank
agreement
you.
that that happens in Jesus'
Excellent.
name.
Amen.
Amen. Okay.
Amen.
So we talked about favorite things, talked about your goals for the end of the year. One more thing. What if you had an opportunity to do anything over,
Mm.
just one do over, any specific thing, what would that be?
Better budget. Better budget, Miranda. And I've said this over and over, and I realize people are saying it's a Gen X thing, but we are the generation that wasted the most money. Man, if I could get some of that back. And when I've looked over my life, I realized had I budget and had a little more sense, Miranda, I would have been so much better off today. And so
Yeah.
I've said that often enough to realize that if I could go back and rewrite how money came in my hands, I would
Hmm.
rewrite how it left my hands. That's what
That's
I
good.
really look at.
That's
Yeah.
that's really really good.
Yeah.
So, Triska Rose says anything in the plans for your hometown.
That I cannot reveal at this time. There are some
No
plans,
revelations are
but I
known
can't.
at this
But I
time.
can't give it now, Triska. Triska, me and you will have conversation December or January. I love Bimini. I've been doing some of my outreach in Bimini. A lot of people on the prayer line are actually from Bimini. And
Hmm.
one or two little small investments I do have in Bimini. All right. So I got some things on the agenda for Bimini, but they're unable to be revealed at this time.
Unable to be revealed. Hey, this has been so much fun. So much fun. Thank you for swerving with me tonight.
It's
This
been a
is the
pleasure,
show where we
man.
get
Thank
to
you for
hang out
having
and
me.
talk about things that
Yes,
you don't
yes.
normally talk about, especially as it's church related, because people are so sensitive. But we get it out there,
Yes, excellent.
and we
Excellent.
talk about those things, man, that matter.
Yes,
And we
yes.
talk about those things that matter. So happy birthday! Thank you so
Thank
much
you so much. I
for
appreciate
hanging
it
out.
again. Thanks to all of those viewers who were wishing me happy birthday and all of that. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. I see Katina on that showing the crab stuff. I just want to remind her that in September I will be in St. Augustine. So I expect the royal treatment.
All right, you heard it here first, Katina. So get ready, get ready for that. Listen, hey, Brenda Hall, happy. Brenda says happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Brenny. She is in
Listen,
Tulsa today, enjoying herself as a retired grandmother.
yes. Listen. Oh, hey, Laverne Johnson Thompson. Thanks for stopping by. Listen, guys, we
Thanks,
do this
Laverne.
every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. We hang out, we talk to interesting people and people who have overcome challenges, not afraid to show scars and speak truth. That's why we do it. Enjoy yourself. Have a great week, everybody. And don't forget to check out Prayer Watch 5.0 Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 5 a.m.
Yes.
And I can't go sign off without saying good night, Annie, my sister.
Hey,
I
she
gotta
right
say,
upstairs. She right upstairs looking. Cause Sundays be a tough day for us when we don't get up early and go to church and eat.
I
Then
know
it's be
that's
sleep.
right.
Hey, so I had to put my alarm on 4 different alarms to make sure I got back on it.
So good night, sleep well, and enjoy the
Yes.
rest of your birthday. Bye bye,
Thank
everyone.
you, man. Bye bye. Thank you so much.